Humming is one of those activities where we're making sound but with the mouth closed, or semi-closed, which is one I'll show you later. And the reason why I tell you that is because if you're ever researching exercises online, you can discern between what is actually an open vowel like ah, or what is a closed mouth like and they have their different purposes. So we're going to use closed vowels within the whole range because there's less chance of us tiring our voices out or hurting our voices. So they're quite important to do daily and before you sing, or rather in this point where you're trying to figure out what's going on. Now, when we do these exercises, as you go up from the bottom to the top, allow your voice to break freely into the next register. Try not to strain your way to erase any crack or break that is there. Just accept it and let it happen whenever it's going to happen. Okay? Now, this first one to do on the full range is one of the easy ones that we can do. It's called a lip trill. Now, if you take your fingers and you place them on just on your jawline here, and lift your cheeks slightly so it feels like your lips have kind of just slightly bunched up. Not inwards, not this way, but just slightly up in that direction, which will allow you to do this. And just to create a voice through that lip. Now that's the beginning sound. I have got another option for you if that's kind of tricky, but try it first anyway. And with that, from your very lowest note that you can find up to your highest note. So obviously the female singers will go much higher, the guy singers won't go as high, but from the lowest note possible to the highest note possible. And just try that for a second. Just go down and up to the top, and back down again to the very lowest pitch. And repeat. And just repeat a couple more times. So we're looking for about a minute's worth of this. And now we're going to add to this because it's fun to do two things at once to kind of speed up the process. Now we're going to use the tongue on this next one. Imagine you were going to say ah ya 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 within that lip trill like this. And give that a go. Now as we go up, try and add that into the siren like this. And give that a go. And if that feels good, if that feels like, oh, actually, that makes getting up there kind of easy, then it might suggest that, yeah, your tongue and your articulators, they could do with some movement within your warm-up. I know when I warm up, I need to involve the tongue because I seem to get more flexibility when I add stuff like vowel changes and tongue twisters. But this one helps us to warm up. And we can combine exercises to keep it kind of quick. If it makes you gag, it might be, yeah, it might be, that might tell us something about how your voice is working. But don't worry, if you have that feeling somewhat when you sing, then maybe there's something to do with the throat muscles that are getting into some kind of swallow as you feel like you're going up. But another way to do this is like this, which is a raspberry. So you might prefer, or you might prefer instead. Now give that one a go, and if that's a suitable alternative, then use that one instead, and gradually go up for your full range in that one. if you can't do this one, it sometimes suggests that the tongue just gets quite tight, or maybe generally we get tight in this area when we sing, and that holds us back from a lot of stuff. So don't worry, but persevere with it and it might work. Another option to try is which is rolling your R's. And now you could give that a go, and so that's 3 alternatives for you to explore your full range. And we're using things there that have external vibrations. There it's the lips. There it's one part of the tongue and the lips. The tongue then, when we do this one, or when we have an external vibration, it means we have to keep some level of consistency and flexibility in the muscles that we're using up here. So it's really great to persevere with these exercises, because once you can do them across your full range, you'll know you're getting in control of tensions that might interrupt your voice. So it's really interesting to try and persevere with this stuff. We need to explore your character. I presume a lot of you might get that reference down there. But there are plenty of techniques out there to help us connect to our more like gregarious side. And they usually start with character. After all, like more intense singing isn't really underpinned by emotions like meh, you know, those kind of things. There's some level of emotional energy underneath that's fueling the process of intense singing. So that means that some common ways of doing this that you can explore would involve things that involve character, or rather using speech. Those things can be like, hey, taxi! Those kind of things, where we can be a New Yorker hailing a taxi. That's used by a famous teacher in New York. We can do something like a happy yell, which is like, oh, hi there. You know, when you've seen some over the road and you're like really chirpy. You can try that one. Try a happy yell of someone you're really pleased to see. It's not like you're like, oh, hi. It's not like trying to aggress. It's just like, oh, hi. It's that kind of thing with a particular energy. And the reason why it's important to try like, hey, taxi, or oh, hi, is because it helps you to find specific characters that work well with you and your voice and the way you are. Because it's quite a slog to belt high notes when you don't use your voice in that way in real life. Like I said earlier, like the speech aspect. So we have to, in a comfortable way, start to use things that aren't too aggressive, that generally have a nice or silly emotion behind them, actually, to help us get forward on this ability to do high intensity singing. Another one would be a baby cry, that kind of thing, which, as you might notice, is quite intense in a different way. It's not like really loud when we do it, but it seems to carry really intensely over noise. So baby cry is something that we can use. Also, something excited or shaky, like I'm really excited to tell you something and I'm about to brim over, but I'm not going to really lose it, but I'm nearly there. That's another voice quality that we can use. So by all means, take that song segment that you've already had and that we've warmed up, that is, and try and sing it with a sentiment. Now, first of all, take one of these at random. Take baby cry, oh hi, or a really shaky, excitable person, and just read your lyrics in that way. So if it was like, I always sing Donny Hathaway, I always sing like a song for you, I've been so many places in my life and times, right? So if that was a happy yell, it's be like, I've been so many places in my life and times, you know, that kind of thing. Or, I've been so many places in my life and time, you know, that kind of thing, where it's baby cry. Use one of those tactics to see if in the same key, or rather up in the same sort of place, one of those sentiments can help you to ignite a different sound or a different sensational function in your voice. So give one of those a go. even as if I was going to sing that same song and it was excited, it would be like, I've been so many places in my life and times. It's like really, I'm really excited. Similar thing is start to apply that to a melody and see if it helps you or it hinders you. Let me know what you discover. Yeah, John, character means attitude. Attitude could be a good way to look at different types of character traits, if you like. I like what John says. Recently, I've been talking to my cat in a higher falsetto voice. Seems to have helped the higher range. That's good. Why? How you doing? Hello? That kind of thing. Yeah, I do that to my cat as well. But last week, my cat had diarrhea. So I didn't talk to him like that at all. I was just going like that instead. Which helped with my aggressive singing, I imagine. But yes, incorporating things into speech translates to singing. They are a use of the same apparatus, right? So within that, whether it be an exercise of an excuse to raise your voice every day in some way that's like a controlled environment, use a character, research characters online, cry, sob, any emotional attitude. You can start to call words and start to call phrases and lyrics for very short amounts every day and explore a different way of using your voice. That's not normally your character or personality. Okay,